Yeah.
Merry Scuffmas!
I know you can't hear me. I need to fix it. Do you hear me now? Oh dear God. Listen, I didn't realize that this was gonna be such a horrid stream, but I wasn't aware.
It fits the theme of the week.
Why? Christmas isn't scuffed.
I meant the general theme for this week, like, of life, because Christmas is next week.
Well, what do you, no, it's not. It's this week. It's Sunday.
I count that the week starts on Monday.
Well, you would be wrong. In terms
Both
of like how
both
weeks
of the
work.
both of the main apps I use always start their new stuff on like Sunday night into Monday.
Good for them. That doesn't make it right. Also, if you're wondering why Sarah looks drugged,
Dead.
like a taxidermied version of a Santa Claus, it's because she broke herself. So
I didn't break anything. I just showed up.
and you didn't show up well enough because you just
That's not
you
my
literally
fault.
no, you say you showed up, you literally didn't. You weren't on my screen at all. I even tried moving you to a separate avatar to see if that worked, but it's your ID that's the bad thing.
I don't know how to
You
fix
made
that.
Yoshi's avatar disappear when I put your avatar ID in.
I don't know how to fix that.
But as far as I know, it's only her who has the issue because, you know, she's a problem child. I still work, so at least I know the code works. Thank God. But yeah, so Merry Christmas, Merry QUISMOISS. And yeah, we're gonna talk about, I almost said Thanksgiving, we're gonna talk about Christmas. We're not talking about Thanksgiving this time, because that is long
And we're
gone.
gonna stay on topic.
Are we?
Are we?
I mean, I can tell you about the candlelight and everything, but first we do weekly obsessions, and I went last time, so now it's your turn.
I don't know if it's as much of an obsession as it is. This is pretty much all I've been able to think about.
That means it's an obsession.
Alrighty. It's also a life update. I got laid off from my job.
Oh God, here we go. There's always something going on with Sarah.
I don't get a fucking break.
No, what would be worse is if on the way back you got a flat tire again.
I was about to say something I probably shouldn't. Okay.
Oh, well. Also, if you guys tuned in last time about Sarah's cruise stuff and what she got, I know what she got, and it is just as ridiculous as you would think.
It's fine.
And she still has never used it, though. And she refuses to.
I used it for like a week.
Yeah.
And then I stopped because it hurt.
When you found it, you don't know where they are right now.
That's true. I don't know where they are.
So, that's your Christmas present to me.
Is to find them?
Finding them and using them if I walk you in the future. Anyways. And no one won't say what it is because it provides more fun if no one knows what it is.
That's true. Yeah, my obsession is the fact that I got laid off and I've had to try and I've had to up my ante when it comes to job searching.
She's been obsessed. In such a good and healthy way.
It's more the fact that my mind constantly keeps drifting to it whenever there's a lull in my racing ADHD thoughts.
Well, yes.
So.
Oh my gosh, never mind. That's completely off topic. I was gonna say something that in my mind there was a connection, but in the real actual conversation you would have been like, what was that from?
I need to know now.
Do you know about Luigi?
Yes, of course I know about Luigi.
Which one are you talking about?
Mangione?
Yes, I think so.
Okay. Yeah.
I thought you were gonna say from the Mario series.
No. I've been the one updating Yoshi about the Luigi stuff. I showed her pictures and was like, look at how fine he is.
No, I only learned about him because of all the gay boys thirsting over him on Instagram.
He's hot.
Ugh. And no, Sarah does not.
No.
Sarah is the AI.
I was applying for a job today on Indeed, and one of the questions was, is it okay if we use AI to look through your resume? And I'm like, if I say no, I'm probably just gonna get automatically rejected. So.
And then when you say yes, you also get automatically rejected.
That's what it kind of feels like, but I mean, I haven't gotten a response yet. If I get a response.
Yeah. I haven't gotten a response yet if that Pokestop's been approved either. They're practically the same thing, right?
Yeah.
Anyways.
My friend. Hold on. This is related.
Oh boy.
My friend. I was talking to them about how I had lost my job and everything, and how just annoyed I was. And and they said, this was when, okay, I'm telling it wrong. Hold on.
Wow, you said this was related.
It is. So, yesterday, it was Pokemon Go Community Day for December.
I was there.
So, yes. And they were the ones, they were telling me, like, hey, it's Community Day, they're doing a bunch of, repeats of earlier Community Day Pokemon. And I was like, I'm currently swamped at work, but cool. I'll see if I can play a little bit. And they were like, I forgot you worked on weekends. And I said, I won't be for much longer. And they said that it was my calling to become a full-time Pokemon Go streamer. And I said, that would just be doxing myself.
Is that even a thing?
I don't think so, because that is effectively doxing yourself. You've heard about stream sniping, now get ready for it in real life.
I mean, if you drove around more to other areas.
Still, if it was a case, I've just dropped things. If it was a case of, say, by some miracle, I would get popular at that. If someone was watching my stream in live, obviously because it would be live, then they would know exactly where I was, whether
there are
or not.
streamers though.
I know, but that would be scary.
Just carry a machete.
I mean, I have a knife.
You need a bigger knife. That's why you go with machete.
I don't think machetes are allowed to be carried in public.
Concealed? Up the thigh?
What would I have to be wearing to make that easily accessible if something did happen?
You know what Ada Wong wears? Why would you wear that?
You think I have the body confidence to wear what Ada Wong wears?
You could wear that other outfit she has where she's just in a trench coat with sunglasses on. You can hide a machete in that.
That I would be more willing to.
Oh, listen. It has a holster on the thigh. What can I say? Or doesn't she have one where she's in like a turtleneck? I don't remember. She has a lot of outfits.
Yeah, she does. I'm looking at it now.
And
but it's like a turtleneck.
And she has like a holster thingy too.
Again, it's for a gun.
You change it for a machete.
A gun is much shorter than machete.
Listen, you get a different kind of holster.
God, that doesn't. Okay.
I'm just thinking, what would make you feel more safe?
Not live streaming Pokemon Go.
Listen, if it presented itself and it made good money, I think you'd do it.
Oh yeah. That's about almost anything.
That's not true. What if there was a job? You're gonna love this. What if there was a job where you had to have people chew up food and spit it into your hands?
Into my hand?
Into your hands, and you had to wash your hands with that food for over 6 hours a day. But it gave you at least $1 million a year.
Hold on.
She has to think about the logistics.
Hold on. What is that, hourly?
I don't know. I say
oh
this
my
with
god. To earn $1 million per year, you would need to make approximately $480 per hour, assuming a 40-hour work week.
That'd be pretty decent.
You know, I could get over it.
Could you? Anyways, okay. My weekly obsession is a song. Go figure. Because I stopped myself from saying Cyberpunk again because I've been playing that recently. But because I'm also not like Hide and obsessed with Marvel Rivals or Shinny, because she's been playing a lot with George too. And it really hasn't always been a song, believe it or not, Faye. I've been doing a lot of things that weren't songs in the past couple of weeks. You fake fan, you haven't been watching.
It's true. And she always says she's gonna go back and watch the VOD too.
It's the same with Mermaid, and she never does. But it's a song by Rebecca Black. It's called Sugar Water Cyanide. And there's this part.
How old is this song?
What do you mean?
Oh, is Rebecca Black still making music?
She's been making music.
I have not heard her name.
I like her music.
Huh.
She's made music for a hot minute. She dipped into the hyperpop scene. I think my favorites of hers are somewhere in between Better, In My Memory, Not Gonna Lie, and a couple of the things off of her Burn album. Because they're just really good. But
I did not realize she was the person who wrote Scars to You Beautiful.
yeah. She has a lot of really cool electronic sounding stuff. But she came out with something earlier this year, a song called, because she had released her album and then she kind of had like a hiatus of sorts where she wasn't releasing anything. And then she came out with a song earlier this year called Trust. And I didn't like it as much. I could get behind the vision. She was in this weird BDSM-ish outfit, and it was about trusting that she would make your back arch or something along those lines. I was like, not my favorite, but she came out with this one recently called Sugar Water Cyanide, and it's less intense. I say less intense. It still leans heavily in the hyperpop era of there's like a really specific dancey part and then there's a specific melodic part, but the part of the dancey part, which I'm sure you're gonna love because this seems to be a theme, is there's this part of the dancey part where she says I'm in the back of the club, but there's parts of it where she just says I'm in the back of 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 the club. And that's been stuck in my mind for a really long time. And I get flashbacks to when I played that Charlie XCX song for you and you were in the seventh circle of hell.
Tell you if... Where
did you go? Oh god, it's Sarah and her evil twin who's whispering in Santa Sarah's ear to talk.
What else is?
Why did that disappear out of nowhere? Oh dear god. Okay. You know what? I'm not fixing it. I feel like this should just be how it is from now on. So
Sarah's will over. throw the quiz.
This is terrifying. But anyways. But yeah, I've been listening to that recently. I like the music she comes out with. I think she's a very underrated artist because everyone thinks of her specifically for Friday.
Yeah.
Which, funnily enough, she came out with, this was a decent amount of time ago at this point, but she came out with a remix of Friday that is like complete hyperpop garbage, but it's hilarious to me. It's like sped up chipmunk, everything, all that kind of stuff.
What I was gonna say before, my
original name.
my ghost of Christmas past arrived.
Oh my gosh, you're right. I should turn down the opacity so you look like a ghost. I can't even tell. Is this you or is this the Yoshi you that you're puppeteering? No, this is you. Okay. Well.
And now apparently I'm broken. I mean, we knew that, but do I still?
Blending. Oh god, yeah, honestly that works, sure.
I feel like we need a third me now.
It's her twin shadow.
We have the ghost of Christmas past. The current me is the ghost of Christmas future because I have the beard.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. Well, the current you is literally just a puppet.
That's you're right.
And I don't know specifically why it had such a delay to it for it to actually work. So who knows? Anyways.
What I was gonna say was I need to listen to the song and tell you if it drives me crazy.
I'm telling you it would.
Oh boy.
Like, okay. For me, I'm okay with repeating things. I have a limit, obviously. But I'm okay with repeating things as long as it eventually leads to something. To which, most of the time in the songs that I have repeating bits, it does lead to something, or it leads back to the part that I really, really like. Because, like, if a part, for instance, like, if there's a song where I only like the bridge of it, I'm typically not as invested to, like, listen to it in the future, versus if I like the chorus or, like, the way the pre-chorus or something is, and because that automatically repeats at least twice in a song, I'm more likely to go back to that song. And so I can stand repetition even if it sounds boring to other people.
I guess I'm okay with repetition if it ends within a reasonable amount of time.
What do you mean?
Everything that song
is
in the car
romantic. Everything is romantic.
It felt like it went on for 10 minutes.
Fall in love again and again.
How long is that song?
Let me look. I have it up here. Hold on. Let's see. Where are you, Charlie XCX? Everything's romantic. It's 3 minutes and 23 seconds.
It does not. It defies time.
No, I think your perception was defying time.
It feels like that full 3 minutes was just that one part.
Well, it really wasn't. There is an entire intro. There is verses.
That entire car trip was a journey.
What do you mean?
between you being like, is it gonna rain? I don't know if it's gonna rain. And then it starts raining. The sewage or water purification plant with the awful smells. That song. Us getting to the place that the cafe was supposed to be in and not being there.
Yeah. But listen, we got there and we didn't get in an accident, even though it was basically pouring rain most of the entire time. But it cleared up at the end. And Shinny had a great time. Right, Shinny? She says yes. Anyways.
And you had a great time watching me accidentally try cheese foam.
Cheese foam's not bad. I don't understand people that don't like cheese foam. Cheese foam good.
It's not that it wasn't, it's not even that it wasn't good. It was more the fact that I wasn't expecting it, and to go from a very sweet, chocolatey drink to suddenly cheese?
It's okay, you act like it tasted like cheddar. That's not what it tastes like. Or as Yoshi would say, cheddar. Like, it didn't taste like that. It was like a salty interlude, and I think it works
But I
well.
wasn't expecting it.
Well, listen, I don't know what you want from me.
Would you drink cheese fondue?
Not the same. Also, I'm pretty sure fondue, because it's, you know, actual cheese, automatically, I don't think you can drink it. It's more of like a stretchy cheese that you have to chew to some degree.
Would you slurp down cheese?
It depends on my mood and what the cheese is.
Would you slurp down pepper jack? Or good Swiss?
Not Swiss.
You know what cheese I would slurp down?
What?
I don't know how it would actually be slurpable. I love brie cheese. Brie cheese?
That cheese would have to be
Delicious.
sitting out in the sun for like a solid day and a half for it
Exactly,
to be
that's why I'm like-
slurpable. And at that point, the smell that would be coming off of that cheese. Oh God. You know what? Let's have that be an experience. You leave a whole wheel of brie in your car for a week and then come back to it and talk to us about your experience.
I don't
And your
want
car
to.
will smell like brie for the entirety of the rest of your life. So
I don't want to do that. First off, brie's expensive.
that,
So
the more reason why it should be a fun present to yourself, a treat yourself moment, if you will.
No.
Delicious. Okay, anyways, Christmas. So
Tell me about candlelight.
sure.
Because you had something that you said you were gonna save for the pod specifically. I want to know what that is.
A couple of things I can think of, but okay, so 2 days ago we went, and by we I mean my family and a family friend, went to the candlelight processional at Epcot. We booked it in advance. We didn't get in for free. So the only thing that we got in, quote unquote, for free was into the park itself. But we actually booked an entire package and reservations and everything. And that's just because my dad works for Disney. Because trust me, it's not as easy as you think to get into Disney for free. You have to plan it so far in advance now. But regardless, we went to Epcot because that's where it is. Still is, I would say, probably my favorite park, even though they've changed so much about it that it really isn't the same anymore. But I think one of the main reasons why it is still my favorite park is because of the World Showcase. I just really like the World Showcase.
That's fair.
Because it's just
I don't
cool.
like the World Showcase purely for the fact of how long it is.
Okay, that's the thing. I was telling you yesterday in terms of like, especially because we weren't like going on any rides or anything. Obviously, walking from like the front of Epcot to the World Showcase and like around, because you have to get to the America section for the candlelight, is like a decent chunk of walking.
Yes.
Like with no stopping. Well, we did stop. Like we didn't just fully bust it. We walked and we sat down and everything because this family friend is older and has 2 knee replacements, so she had to take some rest here and there. But she was handling it fine. She wasn't like complaining of pain or anything, although we'll talk about the benches later. And it wasn't that bad. And we had like lunch beforehand, which we had booked out with this entire package beforehand, so it was fine. But the lunch was also bad for a different reason for me, which again I'll get into. But
Oh boy.
it was like a light day of walking, and for me, because in my mind, like a Disney trip is like, especially if you go to like Magic Kingdom, where it's like divided into all of the different the lands and everything, with all the different rides, where it's a lot of walking,
much fucking
waiting,
walking.
like just standing, because there's never anywhere nice to sit in a line. The most you'll get is like a crate or a barrel or a set prop, if you will, and that's what you get to lean on, or God forbid just a bar or a wall. And so it's a lot of like standing, not a lot of sitting, and then after that you walk again, and it's basically that all day. And we did get there relatively early-ish. We did not get there in the morning. We were in the afternoon because our lunch reservation was at like 1 something. So we did not get there early, as if it was like a true investment Disney day of like, we need to hit all these stops and everything. But I was fine by the end of it in terms of like walking soreness, other than my poo-poo jacket, which again, different story. And I think Yoshi didn't seem sore. I don't think she was sore afterwards. She just didn't like the amount of people that were there, which is to be expected. And so the way it went is we went there, we got there close to like 11 something, 12. Went into the park, and we were going to where our lunch reservation was, which was the land, which, to explain it vaguely to people that probably don't know what I'm talking about, also to explain Epcot vaguely to people that don't know what Disney is in terms of the parks. Epcot is basically supposed to be like the quote-unquote, it's weird, it's like the futuristic one where it's supposed to show like more high-tech and or how the future is supposed to be in an idealist world, but at the same time
always viewed it as like the educational one because that's where all the school field trips are.
But then at the same time, the other one is, the other side of it is the World Showcase, which isn't like showing the future of the world, it's just the world.
Current state.
Like,
yeah.
And even then, it's not the current state, it's probably the previous state, because it was built like way forever ago. But anyways, so we were eating in this place where we were eating in this place that's basically this giant building off to the side before you enter the World Showcase, where there's like a ride that you can ride on a boat, and it's basically a boat tour of a bunch of like agricultural centers around that they have like greenhouses where they set up a bunch of plants that they're growing, and they decorated that for Christmas because we went on it. If you've never seen Christmas lights hanging from a gourd plant that's suspended in the air, you're missing out. But
I've not been on that. I've not actually.
It's a pretty relaxing ride, and I think it was much nicer too because it was relatively cool in the afternoon, so it wasn't like hot and humid. But then after that, we went to our reservation, which was up on the second floor in this restaurant that's like constantly rotating. And I'm saying this specifically because this factored into why the lunch was not enjoyable for me. So we get there, and this is also, not only is it a rotating restaurant, but it's also a restaurant where there's characters. There's characters in this restaurant that constantly go around this rotating circle, essentially. And we had already booked it out beforehand, like our reservation, so everything on the meal plan was how it was going to be.
Well, I have been in this area because I went on Soarin' with my friend.
Yeah, it's in the same area. Soarin's on the first floor next to where the boat one is.
I didn't know there were greenhouses. I would have definitely gone to go see the greenhouses.
Well, it's because they don't advertise it as such. You don't necessarily know that's what you're going to see when you go into it. And the beginning of it is very different from the actual greenhouse part. But it's a nice, relaxing ride. They even made like little snowmen out of sand.
Oh!
Because, you know, Florida.
I'm trying to see. I'm trying to look like on Google to see what the rotating thing you're talking about is, because I don't remember that.
Let me see if I can find it.
We went on Soarin' and that was fun. Oh, I do think I remember seeing
Garden Grill.
the queue for the boats and everything. I do remember seeing those.
It's called the Garden Grill. The land is the building area, and the Garden Grill is the restaurant, and living with the land is the boat ride.
Oh, I'm seeing this too. I remember watching that, and we were like, it's turning.
Yeah, it turns really slowly, but you notice it when you're on it. But okay, to give
we saw the characters in there too. Yeah.
To give context, the restaurant itself, it has on like this wheel platformish area. In the middle of it is like the kitchen where they like make the food and everything, and then one like layer out from that is like upper seating where there's like proper tables, and then a layer down from that on the outermost edge is like booth seating that is like in a half circle format.
I didn't realize there was seating inside because we only saw the booth because it's on the outside.
That's the thing. We thought, oh, we have 5 people. Naturally, were going to sit like in the bigger table area. Nay, we were put into the booth. So can you imagine my family plus the family friend in one of those booths?
Yeah.
I was squeezed all the way into the middle back.
Oh
So,
boy.
because you know, I am the tiny one that is able to fit in horrible positions that make me uncomfortable. Because while I might be tiny, I still am not tiny. Because also, my knee was having issues that day because it was cold, and also I was stiff because I wasn't moving because I was stuck in that position for like.
We need a name for the family friend.
Okay, hold on. You come up with one so I can remember.
I was about to say, let's call her Candle, because of candlelight.
Don't call
But that
her
might get confused. That
Candle.
might get confusing.
Let's call her
We have someone named
Candy.
Sock. Candy, sure.
Okay, so Candy. God, I already know this is gonna get very
I'm about to
annoying.
tell her that, hey, your name's Candy.
So we're all sitting there. Candy's on the outside. I forget. Hold on. I need to pull up the document because otherwise I'm not gonna remember.
It's Bertha, Wario, obviously Yoshi, and then you, and Candy. You need to update the
This is what I'm
list.
saying. I need to get my thing.
Some of
Okay.
these names.
Okay. And then. Okay, so I was there with Bertha, Wario, Yoshi, and Candy.
Bertha is his mother, Wario is his father,
Yes.
Yoshi is his sister, and Candy is the family friend.
So anyway.
Got it? Good.
Well, there might be a test later. You never know. So we're all crammed into this booth. I'm like all the way in the middle. I'm sitting next to Yoshi and Wario on both sides, and then on the outside edges, actually near where they can leave, is Candy and Bertha. And in my mind, because we've done the candle processional before, the candlelight processional. But we always picked a restaurant that's in Britain, specifically the London area, and it's called the Rose and Crown Pub. And typically we would get, like, me and Yoshi would get like the fish and chips because they had really good fish and chips there.
Mm-hmm.
But also something that I guess I took for granted was the fact that we would get the fish and chips. There was a menu there. You could pick what you wanted there. We didn't get that option here. They told us what we were gonna have, and from what I was told, we had this server. He was a lovely guy, made fun of Candy the whole time. She kept laughing, so it was all in good fun. But we were told by him that this is what the food was gonna be, and from that I immediately knew I was not gonna like most of it. Because I'm pretty sure, to my knowledge, it was like roasted veggies, because it's like garden grill and they do a lot of, like, grow their own vegetables and everything. They had filleted pieces of steak, which automatically I'm not really that much of a beef person, so I was kind of like eh. And then they had turkey with mashed potatoes, of which I was like, okay, I didn't get to have turkey this Thanksgiving. I could see if this is good, and I'm good with mashed potatoes and everything, except the turkey was being smothered in gravy, of which I don't really like gravy. And then I think those were the main things that were on the big thing, because they don't give individual servings or anything. It's like one big thing that they give to the entire group, and they're like, pick out the stuff that you want on your plate. Mm-hmm. And then a side of mac and cheese. And so it was like, looks like I'm just gonna be getting some mac and cheese. But the issue was,
oh boy,
I wasn't aware of it at the time, because I've had this issue like in cars before. I didn't realize this was gonna be an issue where, like, if I'm looking at something in front of me, so like if I'm looking at the table and I can see in my peripheral that stuff is moving behind it, I can start to feel really nauseous.
Oh no.
Because I've had this happen in the car where like if I tried to read in the car, I start getting sick and I can't read in the car because I'm like focusing on a page. So I started to feel not great, and I already knew I wasn't gonna like anything really of the food. And so he brings it out and everything, and automatically like people are asking me, both Yoshi and Wario and Bertha are like asking, well, do you want this, do you want that? And I took like a tiny bit of mac and cheese to like see if I could stomach it, and I stomached that, but then I started feeling woozy, and so I was like, I'm definitely not gonna test it with stuff that I don't want to eat.
Yeah.
Because the mac and cheese already was like, it's Disney mac and cheese. You don't really expect much. But then at the same time, I'm like, I don't want to barf. Because this was also the first thing I ate that day. So it would basically just be a tiny bit of mac and cheese and a bunch of bile. Like, I didn't want that. And plus, I'm in the middle. I'm trapped in the middle, so I can't leave without multiple people having to get up and leave. And also, during this entire experience, the characters kept coming around. And I kept stopping at our table. Which, like, the first times were great and everything. They said hi to Candy. We got pictures with her and the people. And it was cute and adorable and everything. And then I was brought back to my disassociation era. Where I was basically, like, instead of focusing on, like, the table, I was trying to focus on, like, a point in the distance that I could see was moving, so that I would hopefully like get less nauseous and stuff. And I was like trying to like really breathe to see if I could get that feeling, like, you know, like when you feel like you're getting sick and you have to like really start taking deep breaths. That's how I felt.
I was told when I was getting blood drawn one time, they said like lean your head back rather than like trying to curl it on yourself. Like you maybe try to lean your head back instead, because that'll help.
Well, you know, I didn't have that knowledge because I was just really trying to like focus on any bit of the environment I could see and just like look at it. And to that extent, I know that Yoshi was like, she kept looking over at me and she's constantly had like this really worried look on her face, like, oh dear God. And so
this man's about to begin.
and even like the server was like, is everything okay, to me specifically, and he was like, are you a vegetarian? I was like, no. And he was like, is there anything I can do? And then he even said something like, is it me? And I'm like, no, it really isn't, and this isn't helping either. Because it wasn't only him, it was also like my parents too. They were like, well, why do you not like it? Why do you not want it? And at the time, I was focusing on trying not to barf, on top of not wanting to explain the fact that I didn't really think anything looked appealing to me. And so I was trying to be like short to the point, like, no, I just feel sick, that's it. And I'm sure that came across really mean, but at the same time, it's like, it's either that or like I try and explain and I might puke on you because I can't leave. So that, on top of the fact that I was squished, my knee was starting to like feel really achy, and it was just a lot. It was bad. So that was lunch. This was before the candlelight processional. And afterwards, we came out. I don't really, okay, Shinny, that's the thing. I've tried gravy. I've tried different kinds of gravy. I tried the gravy that like you put on biscuits that basically looks like cement. I've tried the gravy that you would have classic for like Thanksgiving, that's kind of like that brownish consistency. I don't like any of it. I don't want it with my turkey. And even if the turkey's dry, I don't want that with my turkey. I just won't have the turkey. Because I've had turkey that you don't need gravy for, and it was delicious. And I'm never gonna have it again because of how much work went into it. But anyways, so we get off the spinning wheel of death, and we make our way towards the World Showcase, because obviously when you enter the World Showcase, you're like in this middle point where there's like no defined country, and there's like this big Christmas tree there because they decorated for the season and everything. And we start making our way around, because I don't know if you remember, I mean you probably do because you've done this before, but America, which is where the candlelight processional is literally on the exact opposite side of the giant circle that is the World Showcase. So no matter what, we're gonna have to walk at least the full World Showcase, in the sense of walking it halfway twice in order to get there and get back eventually later. But I was fine in terms of like walking, because I knew with how my knee was getting sore, because like if I would stay still for too long, that's when it would start to get sore. So I was like, if I get up and like start moving, I'll feel better. And plus, because the weather itself was actually pretty nice, like in the daytime and everything, foreshadowing, in the daytime, because there was like a bit of a breeze and it was like a nice cool like 60 range, it felt really nice to like walk and like breathe and everything outdoors. So I'm glad that happened. We walked around, we looked at a couple of the countries, we stopped in Morocco for a bathroom stop because Yoshi had coffee, and we made it past Japan, got to the Americas, and we, I think, got in line like probably almost an hour before it was supposed to start, because you know how basically the way the candlelight processional works is there's two lines on both sides, on the left and the right side, and it's like this giant outdoor amphitheater, and it's only like partially covered in the beginning couple of rows, but then the rest of it is like all outdoors. So thank God it wasn't raining. But it's really big, and typically the way that like our family did it was we set up reservations so that we would automatically be in the reservation line and no matter what we would get in. But the other line is if people either don't show up or they don't fill up reservations, people can walk in from the street, if you will. But there's typically a lot of free seats that I've seen that are left over even after the reservations and everything. So if you line up like really early, you're kind of bound to get in no matter what. And they typically always have like some kind of celebrity reader who reads the classic Christmas story of Baby Jesus. And we basically were there for about an hour, and then they started letting us in. And once we picked our seats, we sat down, and it was already kind of iffy because it was starting to get colder, because it was close to 5-ish at this time, and it already started to get colder. And I knew it was going to get kind of cold, but I didn't realize how cold it was going to get, because like I had a jacket, but it was not a good enough jacket, and I was wearing shorts. And the benches that we sat on, which I apparently blocked this out because we've been to this before, were so uncomfortable. And I know I wasn't making this up because I asked both Candy and I asked Yoshi, and they also were like, yeah, those benches were awful. But Bertha swears the benches were fine. But it was like somehow worse than just a stone flat bench. And it was meant to be like a faux wooden one. And it hurt my tailbone so much, like I had to keep readjusting myself and also like flexing my butt to like sit on my butt muscles because it was hurting that badly. And also at this point, because I had barely eaten anything and also barely really drank anything, I was really thirsty, and so Wario went out, got some water for us, and I had drank like an entire bottle of Dasani water. And it was getting colder, so I'm sitting on this really uncomfortable bench, constantly having to move because my butt hurts. I have to pee now because I drank an entire bottle of water, and I'm freezing. And I remember at one point, as they're like starting up all of the orchestral parts of the songs and everything, because they have like a bunch of intros that they do, and then that's when the choirs come in. I remember Candy looks over to me and she's like, doesn't this make you just want to like move? But I see you over here like all stiff, and I'm like, Candy, I am cold, my butt hurts, and I have to pee. I don't know what you want from me. And the way that the candlelight processional works for everyone else that does not know, because at this point Sarah knows a decent amount.
From the performer's side, I don't know much about how it works on the viewing side.
Yeah, but you still know enough.
Yeah.
You know how it goes. I doubt they've changed the lineup of how the event actually works within the time frame. But it's basically, like I said, it's in that giant amphitheater, They read out the classic Christmas story, and interspersed through the Christmas story is a bunch of like musical numbers where the orchestral the instruments from all different kinds, because they kept on bringing out these giant horns too that, my lord, were so loud. Thank God we weren't sitting next to them this year, but we did sit next to them this one year and we could not hear.
Yeah.
But we did sit closer to the percussionists, and that was pretty cool because of all of like the different stuff that they go throughout the entire performance.
Yeah.
But they have the orchestra in the front bit, and then they have this like main Christmas tree looking stand where the voices of what is it called? It's the voices of something.
Voices of Liberty.
Voices of Liberty. That's what it is. The Voices of Liberty, which changes whether or not they're like, I want to say professionally sourced out versus if they're cast members, because I know that we also know someone in our neighborhood that has been a Voice of Liberty before, and she had worked at Disney. So
I believe the Voices of Liberty are specifically performers that work for Disney. So I don't know specifically if like maybe they work on cruises sometimes or not, but these are paid performers. Meanwhile, the rest, as far as I know, the rest of it is made up of high schoolers.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. I swear it's not just high schoolers because of some of the people we saw in the crowd, but after the main tree of like the Voices of Liberty, there's these two like giant, almost bleacher-esque stands where there's multiple like layers of areas for people to stand, and they fill up with a bunch of high schoolers and stuff. But I swear it was just high schoolers because some of those people looked way older. I swear I saw a balding man. But regardless,
I'm thinking it's everyone in the gold are high schoolers.
well, no, it was part of gold.
Oh.
That's why I was like, I swear it used to only be high schoolers. But, and I know there was a bunch of high schoolers because you could tell they were babies. But even then, they come in.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe they are like, maybe there are some actual like cast members or something. I'm not entirely sure. I was under the impression that was entirely high schoolers.
And then the conductor comes in. He's in the middle bit. He's doing his thing. And then on the podium right in front of the Voices of Liberty tree thing is typically where the celebrity guest narrator is. And we had Pat Sajak. Do you not know?
Pat Sajak?
Oh,
him!
Wheel of Fortune.
Yeah!
Yeah.
That's better than, okay. When I was performing, we got Blair Underwood.
Oh, her? Well, apparently you didn't like her.
That's a guy.
Oh, well, never mind.
You're thinking
I'm thinking of a different person.
Else? Are you thinking of Carrie Underwood?
No. I think I mixed up a Food Network person. I think I mixed up a different person.
I'm looking at the stuff Blair Underwood has been in, and honestly, the only thing I recognize is Sex and the City.
Well, I know one of the ones that we saw, it had to have been one of our first times that we went. We saw Neil Patrick Harris.
That would have been cool. I'm not dissing Blair Underwood because like maybe he's done impressive stuff, but like I remember
she's dissing him.
Some people, I think one year, maybe it was the year before, something like that, where my class, not my class, but like the class before me, that day candlelight got to see like Whoopi Goldberg or something like that, and we got Blair Underwood, and all of us were like, "Who is that?"
Well, listen.
I'm just like, okay.
Anyways, so it lines up with all the high schoolers, and they come in a very weird and dramatic way, where like they start singing the number as they start walking up the aisles. But okay, here's the part. I wanted to ask you this question because I wanted to know if you ever had a similar experience with your groups. So what I had noticed, there was 3 things that I had noticed this entire time from that candlelight processional that I witnessed in my uncomfortable glory. One of which is, like I had mentioned before when we went to look at lights yesterday, I don't trust men that sing with vibrato.
Which is so funny.
No, I will not explain further. That is all you will get to know. 2.
But women who sing with vibrato are
beautiful,
okay.
Amazing voices, love it. Men, no. So, anyways, so the high schoolers are doing their thing where they like go along the aisles as they're holding their fake candles, and they line up. And as they're like nearing the finish part where it's nearing the end of the song and they're about to like all be up there, I notice that on both sides, because they're on both sides, there are extras that don't fit up there. And I know they're extras because they're also looking around, like they paced back and forth to see if there's anywhere they could fit, and then and there was like 2 on each side, and they both went backstage. And I was like, how do you not know that there's not enough room for you?
What? Okay, the way we did it. So my sophomore year of high school, I got to do candlelight. And
she hated the celebrity guest.
I did not hate him. I just didn't know him. It was underwhelming. First off, getting to go backstage of Disney, underwhelming. So underwhelming.
Yeah. It's really not that fancy.
The majority of the time spent that day was literally sitting around in this big tent they set up.
Mm-hmm.
They gave us some like this little snack pouch, and that was the extent of the food we were given.
Well, you're high schoolers.
It was like, okay. They're like, you're getting 2 free Epcot tickets, or you're not. She's not specifically. You're getting 2 free Disney tickets. Like, we don't want to hear you complaining, type of deal. And they had like it was really just a tent with table set up, and then there was like a costuming department where they went and made sure that you got the right size robe to put on over your clothes. But
that lovely piss yellow robe.
They made sure that one, you knew the songs.
Hopefully.
And they did this by, I think they separated us between men and women. And they had this separate tent that had like a stand set up. Like bleachers kind of a deal.
Mm-hmm.
For some reason, the word is slipping my mind of what they're actually called. Risers, that's what they're called. They had risers set up. And they organize you to what you're gonna look like. So like short people in the front, tall people in the back type of deal. And so they make sure you know where you are. And as you're walking out, they literally make you get in a single file line in the exact order that you are going to go on stage on.
Yeah, that's exactly what I thought they must have done beforehand. That's why I was so confused as to how they didn't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I have absolutely no clue why that happened, other than they did not follow the instructions. That's the only thing I can think of.
Because then after that, something that Wario swears happened, because I saw it too, but I didn't think that this is what was happening, is, you know how like if there are teachers or something that go along, they wear like the same robes and everything or something?
Yeah.
One of them on the right side came out from backstage, and I swear this was like during a musical number. So it wasn't really hidden. And she like parted the crowd that was on the risers, and she took this guy, or no, she like bent down, because I guess I didn't notice this or something, but one of the guys was like sitting or something, and she escorted him out, and Wario swears it's because he locked his knees and he like fainted or something.
I totally believe that. I 100% believe that.
And I was like, okay, but also how do you not know to not lock your knees in a performance setting?
Oh, there was a time, this is kind of off topic, but there was a time where, again, in high school, for like every day at the end of the day or something like that, the ROTC would take down the flag from the flagpole. And there was, I don't know if it was for Veterans Day, I can't remember what it was for, but there was some sort of event going on by the flagpole, and there was some band stuff alongside it. and we had an ROTC kid faint because they locked their knees.
But also, for me at least, when I lock my knees, it makes it uncomfortable to stand. So
Yeah.
I don't get how other people can do that.
It depends. For me at least, I can understand because it can sometimes feel easier to stand like that. But yeah,
well, regardless,
it was drilled into us not to lock our knees in band, so we never did. It was never a worry for us.
so that
But
happened.
I
And
fully
then
believe that they did, yeah, because you're standing up there for a while.
But they also never adjust the other. Oh, and actually, no, there's this other thing that happened where on the left side only that I saw, like they took that guy off of the right side, and then on the left side, I saw at one point this one girl weaseled her way in. Again, during a performance.
What?
And
What
she
did you
like
go
stood
see?
in a spot. And I was like, okay, what is happening in the high school department? But
The most notable thing that happened, that as far as I know at least, when I was performing, the 2 processionals that we did, was that the person behind me was incredibly off tune the entire night. That was the only thing I remember, really.
but it was one of many, so you probably didn't even hear it.
Oh yeah, I mean, in the grander scheme, you
Other
didn't.
people
But like,
didn't hear it.
she was right behind me and was throwing me up. I'm like, I know my part. You clearly don't.
But then the last thing that I specifically noticed, which had to have been like a script change or something, because in my mind, the Candlelight Processional, at least from the theming specifically, and also the fact that it's covering the baby Jesus story, seems very Christmas themed. Would you say?
Yeah.
Because at one point, Pat Sajak, he was reading the thing, because this isn't the first time that he's done this either, so he was reading just the script, and at one point it said something, the script specifically was something along the lines of and that's the spirit of, and he was about to say Christmas, but he stopped himself and he said the season. And I thought that was weird because that didn't happen anywhere else. And I wondered if it was like this random script change, and I was like, but isn't this like really a Christmas thing? I just thought it was odd because I didn't expect it.
I mean, does seem kind of. I can't remember what Blair Underwood said.
But then at the same time, like when we got out of it and we went over back to Morocco for another bathroom break, they were having, and this wasn't even the first time because technically that's a separate thing, but there was this guy that was singing Jewish songs about Hanukkah and educating the children about Hanukkah on a street corner. And I was like, I'm confused. Not about Hanukkah. I was confused about the entire script thing even more, about like, I'm confused. Because something that they specifically do on the World Showcase is like, for a decent amount of the countries, they will have like their version of Christmas in terms of like what they would celebrate specifically. And they would have someone like either dressed up as whoever the main person is or just someone that tells you about it, and they would explain it, and they would do like all kinds of songs and stuff. Like they do it everywhere. Like I genuinely, I swear this is a thing. I swear they had Wukong in China at some point. I'm not even joking. And he was talking about Christmas. But I digress. That, because that was happening when we were walking on our way over to the Candlelight Processional. There was a French Saint Nicholas that was talking in the French town square. And basically after no, he didn't sound like that. After the Candlelight Processional, which I wasn't really that it was over in the sense of that it was horrible. I was really in the sense of I can finally stand. Because oh dear God, my butt was hurting. I need to walk, all that stuff. And we visited the Japan shop. We went back. I think we got Yoshi and Wario got some Grand Marniers from France. which I don't understand why you'd get that considering it was already like in the 40s at that point and they were sipping on literally slushy drink. But that was that. And then we made our way back. And originally I thought we were gonna ride Spaceship Earth, but Candy ended up saying no, and I was like, okay, that's fine. But we looked for holiday ears and stuff because Bertha wanted some. And we found some pins and stuff and all that stuff. And we eventually made our way out. And when we got, to be fair, it could have happened beforehand, but I swear this is when it happened. When we got on the tram to go back to the parking area where we had parked, which was basically at the front of the parking lot comparative, in the sense of like when you first get into the parking lot, that's basically where we parked. Okay. And when we got on, I was sitting down and I had my hands down to like stabilize myself because when you ride the tram, especially at night, it gets windy, and like if it's hot, that's nice, but it was cold, so it was freezing. And so I was not only I put my hood up and everything to try and, you know, stay warm, but then I was like, I had my hands down on the seats to like try and stabilize myself, and I had a bit of my sleeve over my hand. Poor decision, because then what had happened was I went to adjust my hood when we were about to get off, and I caught a whiff, a bad whiff, and I was like, what is that? And I smelled my sleeve where my hand was, and it smelled like shit.
No.
Literally. And I looked, I didn't see anything. I might have seen like a dot, a brown dot, which didn't bode well, and I thought, oh wow. And I was so grossed out because then I was like to Yoshi, I was like, smell this. I want you to tell me I'm not crazy. And she was like, it smells sweet. And I was like, baby, that's shit. Like, that's not sweet. And so I had to take that off because I didn't want to wear that anymore. Luckily we made it back to the car relatively soon, but and then Candy missed her turn to get on to one of the roads to get back home, and we had to make sure she knew that she was going back the right way. And then we came home. I was very tired. I was very tired because at that point I had only slept 3 hours the night before. Don't ask me why. Me. It's not, believe it or not, it wasn't from a lack of trying. And on top of that, I only slept about 3 hours. I hadn't really ate anything that day. And I was really cold. So yeah. And that was my experience. It wasn't bad, but you know, I still want to go to Magic Kingdom probably sometime early next year with you, Yoshi, and Portillo to go to Tom Sawyer Island. Because I want to visit the caves one last time. I want to show you my caves, my cavernous holes, if you will.
I have my own, so.
My island of cavernous holes. Plus, you could actually play in the forts and everything. You're small enough.
Promise?
And I can push you over some barrel bridges.
No, do not push me over the bridge.
And there's a bunch of boats and all that fun stuff. So, yeah, that's what I'm hoping for in the future, in the near future. But then also, me and Sarah and Bertha, Wario, Yoshi. This feels like I'm saying like military code names. We went looking at Christmas lights last night. And there were some crazy Christmas lights. And Sarah also made my mother laugh so hard for seemingly no reason. It was about Santa being chunky. Yeah. And it lasted for a solid like minute and a half at least. My mother was laughing too much, so.
And then getting out of the car, she also started laughing again at my struggles.
Well, it is very funny to watch you struggle.
Yeah.
But yeah. So Christmas.
Woof.
In my mind, okay, you know what? We can circle back to a topic that we were supposed to talk about last time, but we completely got off topic about cruise ship and dentistry. God forbid the cross section of cruise ship dentistry. But I was gonna ask you Christmas desserts. And don't say gingerbread. Because you yourself even said, I don't know when's the last time I even had gingerbread, if I've even ever had gingerbread.
Is that what you're asking me about that cookie?
No,
When
that
I
was
mentioned-
just
when I mentioned
that was a
cookie?
purely curious question, but then I was also came from the fact that we were making some cookies here.
I don't think just peppermint counts because
Peppermint's not a cookie, Hide.
But it's also you didn't specify like cookie. You just said dessert.
Would you consider a candy cane a dessert?
No.
I consider it a travesty.
What? No.
In my mind, okay. I know you're gonna say no, but for me, a candy cane is the worst form of enjoyment when it comes to peppermint desserts.
It depends
because of how
on
weird it is to consume.
Depends on the candy cane, because some candy canes are like the proper peppermint, and some are like, ugh.
Well, then also there's all those weird candy canes. Have you seen the chocolate ones?
No. I like some like the good flavored ones where it's like, oh, this is the sweet tart
What,
candy
like the
canes.
Jolly
I like
Rancher ones?
Yeah, I like those. Those are fun.
But even so, again, it's just the way of consumption that's very odd. And also, don't get me started on wrapping them.
I have a specific way I do it, and God, that just saying that, I was like, God, you're autistic.
First, I suck this end, then I suck this end, then I break it in half, and I suck the other ends of those broken ends.
The way I do it is I squeeze the arch part towards the main stick part, so it snaps on like the arch, and then I use where it snapped as a way to break through the plastic, and then I pop the small part that broke off that's like near the end of the arch. I pop that in my mouth, eat that on its own, and then it makes it easy to slowly peel the rest of the candy cane free so you can suck on it.
I can't suck on it. I'm not a sucker.
I am a sucker.
I'm a cruncher.
I don't know if I've told it on the pod, but there was a time I was in 8th grade. I
found out she was gay, you know?
I was in geometry class, and Mom had gotten me like 3 of these really big candy canes, these big girthy candy canes. And she's like, take 1 for yourself and then 2 for your close friends that I specifically sit with in geometry. And so I gave my other friends their candy canes, and we were allowed to eat in that class. So I was like, I'm gonna have some of my candy cane now, because this was not a candy cane you could eat in one setting. I'm blissfully doing my math, like, while I'm sucking on this candy cane, and as far as I know, in my little 8th grade brain, in my mind, I'm just holding the candy cane in my mouth. Like, that's all I'm doing.
I don't know where this is going.
My teacher specifically said, whoa, let's keep it PG, please. And I had no fucking clue what she was talking about at the time. I knew I was embarrassed. And because people looked back, I sat at the back of the class and people looked at me. I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what she means by this. It took me years to realize that she thought I was sucking off this candy cane.
Wow.
Like, what? What? Who says that to an 8th grader? I was like maybe 14.
Meanwhile, in I want to say it was probably my biology class, no, it wasn't biology, it was chemistry, and I remember why. In my chemistry class, when we had to get materials to make molecules with toothpicks, specifically edible ones, because we wanted it to be fun and we wanted it to be something that we could
Did you like use like marshmallows and toothpicks or something like that?
No, I brought gummy bears because
Oh.
I didn't bring the Haribo gummy bears because those kind of can get like really tough.
Yeah.
I brought these ones that we could get from a bulk store that used to be open near here that were kind of like really soft ones that had a lot of fun flavors. Like those are still like the best gummy bears in my opinion. And
sorry, say that again. What ones?
they to be fair, I could probably point you to like an actual brand that's probably the same kind of gummy bear, but the one that we got it from was just a bulk store that you could like buy multiple giant things of candy in bulk. And so we could get like this half-pound bag of gummy bears for like $5. And so, and it had a bunch of different flavors and everything. And I remember, because we didn't have toothpicks, we had skewers that we were like snapping to like try and fit everything because they were like these bigger skewers. And I took one of the skewers that I didn't snap or anything, and I started like stacking a bunch of gummy bears on them to like impale them or something. And this had to have been like in 9th or 10th grade or something, considering this was chemistry. I want to say this had to have been, it might have been in 10th or 11th actually. And I stacked like 6 or 7 gummy bears, and these weren't like the small Haribo gummy bears either in terms of size. They were like pretty chunky boys, like as you would say about Santa, a chunky boy, like
Chunky boy.
and I stacked like 6 or 7 of them.
I'd say chunky man about Santa.
And okay. We don't need to know about your preferences right now. And I remember I was taking this skewer with all of these gummy bears, and I was shoving it in my mouth while this teacher was like giving a lecture on the molecule stuff. And I had 2 classmates, 2 friends of mine that were looking over at me, and I shoved like nearly 6 or 7 inches down my throat.
Oh my God.
And then I literally, as I did it, I used my teeth and I did the entire skewer, and all the gummy bears were gone. And then I took a little bow, and one of them looked like he wanted to throw up and the other one was laughing. So I know that I have a very easy to breach gag reflex.
Can't relate, first and foremost.
I know, right? But those were pretty good gummy bears.
You didn't savor any of them?
I didn't swallow them. I chewed them.
Okay.
I can't swallow a gummy bear. I'm not that good.
I would like to point out that I was not deep-throating this candy cane.
Sarah out of context clip 500 at this point. Specifically with this visual. So I was not deep throating that candy cane.
It looks like Santa's version of me is getting canceled, and I have to be like, I did not deep throat the candy cane.
Oh God!
These are false allegations.
It's like the secretary saying what Santa should say. I didn't deep throat the candy cane. But listen, it's fine. Even if you did, everybody has a horror phase.
That was not my horror face.
Okay, you know what? I don't like specifically that form of peppermint enjoyment, but you know what kind of peppermint enjoyment I do like? Do you know, not the Muffin Man, do you know those, see, I'm gonna equivalent it to something that I'm only gonna equivalent it to because Yoshi was a horse girl. Do you know those peppermint sticks that are similar to like the texture of buttermints?
Yeah.
I like those.
Those are good, yes.
Because I like that texture, and I think it works well with the flavor, and the only reason I like it, and I know I like it, is because Yoshi would take those as treats for the horses at the ranch. And I would have some of them sometimes. I was practically one of Yoshi's horses, so...
It just sounds like you were part of the horse.
But yeah, between that and the oatmeal cream pies, you know, because that was another horse treat. I think that's probably my favorite form of peppermint, those kinds of sticks.
Oh yeah,
I like just the buttermint texture. It's a very nice texture.
Yes, it is. I like those, like the ones that they have at Chick-fil-A and everything.
Yeah, and I swear they don't have them like nearly at any Chick-fil-A's anymore.
They have it at the one near us.
But
If you
that's the
go
thing.
in,
That's the thing, though. You have to go in. I don't want to
you
see
do.
high schoolers, because you know those are the
I
people that work there.
well, I mean, I last time I went into there, it was on my bad date. So
Did you go to ours?
yeah,
Oh God, you brought them here.
they specifically said there's one nearby, and they meant this one.
Well, now they know where you live. Chick-fil-A.
Specifically at Chick-fil-A.
Yes. But no, okay. In terms of like Christmas cookies, we have
What constitutes a Christmas cookie?
cookies that you have around Christmas.
Oh God.
It doesn't have to be specific to like what is traditionally considered a Christmas cookie. Like for me, technically, I don't know if these are considered Christmas cookies because I think you could make them whenever, but for me, they're Christmas cookies because we would always have them around Christmas time. And they're both German cookies. And one's called Springeli and one's called Lebkuchen.
I don't know what they are necessarily, but I know like I've been in proximity to them. I know that much, but I don't think I've ever eaten them.
Well, Springeli specifically, there's a right way and a wrong way to make it and all that stuff,
It's
but
like the shortbread cookie, isn't it?
no. It's not at all like a shortbread cookie. It is more it's more cakey because a shortbread typically is more dense and buttery. It's the baker in me coming out. But a Springly specifically, the flavor profile of it is anise, which is the same thing that licorice is typically known for.
They are what I thought they were, but I guess yeah, you wouldn't call those. I guess they wouldn't be called a shortbread cookie, yeah.
But the thing is, even though it has anise in it, it doesn't taste like licorice, if that makes sense. Because I feel like if you were to have like a black licorice jelly bean, which in my mind, that's puke town for me. But if you were to have a black licorice jelly bean, that is like the most concentrated form of like fake anise flavor that I can think of. Whereas like Springly cookies are supposed to have like actual either anise extract or sometimes actual star anise in it. And it has like the faintest of that kind of flavor, but it's still sweet and stuff. And I feel like it's way better than anything licorice could ever be. And it's technically the way that it's supposed to be. The main characteristic of it is that you either use cutouts or you use like rolling pins that have like designs that are embedded into them, like embossed into them, that will show up on the dough when you roll it out. And then you cut them out to be like these kind of like almost stamp shapes. Well, I say stamp shape, they don't have to be stamp shapes, but those are like the classic version that have like a really pretty design on them. And you're supposed to leave them out once you cut them out to like dry for a really long time until they have basically almost all of the moisture out of them besides at the bottom of them, so that when you put them in the oven, they rise off of that moisture bit at the bottom. It's called the foot. And they kind of like puff up in that way, but they're kind of like really crunchy. And we don't typically like them that way, but that's how you get a more defined like design. But the way that we make them is they turn out more cakey and you don't leave them out to dry. You just put them into the oven and the designs aren't as crisp, but they just taste better in my opinion. And like they have a better texture. And then with Lebkuchen, it's similar to a gingerbread in the form of what it looks like. But in terms of what it's actually made up of, it is not at all like gingerbread. Because technically gingerbread, there's actual like German gingerbread and it's not Lebkuchen, but it has like spices and stuff in it, but it doesn't have the same spices as gingerbread. Like it doesn't have cinnamon in it or anything, and it doesn't have ginger or that. I think at most it has like cloves and a couple of other things, and that specifically, it takes so much flour. I need to put so much flour in Lebkuchen, and then you're supposed to let it rest. Like optimally, if you want the flavor to like be really good, you have to let it rest for at least a couple of days, if not a week. But we're lazy. And at the same time, we're like, it already took a lot to fold in the flour. So we just let it rest for like maybe a couple of days, and then we put it in the oven, and you're supposed to put like a icing over the top of it, and instead of like a cookie, it's kind of more of a cake texture where you cut it out in like these bar shapes, but it's really fluffy and airy, and it's really nice, and it has a good spice flavor. And those are like my classic Christmas cookies that I think of, other than like your typical sugar cookie that like you'll get with the sugar sprinkles on top and everything.
Yeah. So I sent you some things. I don't really have a specific Christmas cookie that I can think of, other than that cookie I told you about, which isn't gingerbread because I found it. It is molasses.
Mm. Well, there is a lot of molasses. There's a lot of molasses in Lebkuchen too. That's typically the main thing that gives it like that really, really dark color.
Yeah, because I was looking at it, I'm like, is that what I'm looking at? Is that what I'm thinking of? It's not. But I found the specific molasses cookies Mom would buy, and that I sent the ones. But I also sent.
Oh no, those iced oatmeal ones. Oh my lord, shove them up my ass.
Good. They're so
I love those iced oatmeal ones. Shove them up my ass so I can enjoy them while they're going in and coming out. They're so lovely. Have you ever had the other ones before that you sent?
No, but they're like I'm kind of using this as a thing to hold on to because I want to make them now because they look good.
Ooh, another one. I only say another one. I only say this because it's not that I associate it with Christmas, but I do know that I've made these at Christmas before and they've been really good. Do you know are they called Crinkle or Crackle? I have to look this up now. It's Crinkle. Okay, so they're called chocolate crinkle cookies.
Oh, I feel like I've had them. I don't think I have. And I know I've seen them.
They're the ones that like you cover in like powdered sugar and like they crack.
There's a lemon crinkle cookie. Yeah, no, yeah.
But no, well, first of all, I love the texture because it's like really fudgy on the inside, kind of brownie like, but then it has a nice crispy outside. But then specifically, you can make peppermint chocolate crinkle cookies. And I made those, and those were really good. And I would love to make lemon ones too. I think I have made lemon ones too before because I remember bringing them over to Grammy at some point. But yeah,
you should come over and we should make something. We should do some sort of baking.
We should do that specifically on New Year's Eve when we're drinking.
On New Year's Eve, my last day of work.
Exactly. You'll be at work while I'm saying take another shot. It'll be great.
I will not be drinking at work. Although I probably would want to. But I would not be drinking at work.
Oh, okay, here. Shinny, George, Hide, what do you guys consider a Christmas cookie to you? Because like I feel like the general consensus is that people always think of like gingerbread because they think of like a gingerbread house or gingerbread men. But in reality, when is the last time you've had a gingerbread cookie? Honestly. Because I know, at least for me, I don't think we've ever personally made gingerbread, actually. The most we've ever done is like made one of those kit gingerbread houses, and even then it's not like it was really good gingerbread. Well, then what do you think of Hide? What is a Christmas dessert for you?
I said peppermint.
Just peppermint? That's it? Like the grandma candy circular ones? Because that's too little for me. I know a lot of people, there are some people that really like peppermint bark and like they make it.
I'm a big fan of peppermint bark.
Wow, Hide. You are not festive at all. Sarah needs to slap you. And I know she will.
I will, without hesitation. There doesn't even need to be a reason, I'll just do it.
Listen, the reason for the season.
It's to slap Hide.
Exactly.
Have you, this is tangentially related, yep.
Uh-huh. Is that what you're whispering to your Santa taxidermy self?
Yes.
Oh, jeez.
Thin mints are, I would not consider thin mints. I think of thin mints more in like the springtime.
I just never think of them with Christmas specifically because of when the Girl Scouts are always selling them. Like, I'm sure if like you specifically make sure, because can't you order like Girl Scout cookies year round from like online?
You can.
So
Yes.
I'm sure if like families specifically order them around Christmas time, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Because they have mint. But like,
Yeah.
that's the only thing I can think of.
When you were taking, now this could be different because you had a very different school experience from me. When you were
Very.
taking big tests,
Oh yeah, those two remember.
did they give you mints?
Mints.
Like, maybe it was specifically the high school I went to, but whenever we had a big test, like they did this when we took
Do
the
they
SATs.
think you're sucking dick and cock?
No, they did it
You
because
with your
peppermint.
candy cane.
This peppermint helps wake you up.
Oh, so it's laced with LSD.
No, they would give us those kind of like the big like chalky kind of peppermint.
Ew.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
No. I don't.
They come in like the big tubs. Round peppermint.
I would not consider this candy, Hide. Snickerdoodles are a good one. Actually, you know what another one is? Similar to Merms' point of the Hershey Kiss one. It specifically would be a Hershey Kiss, but the cookie would be a peanut butter cookie.
Oh yeah.
Or instead of a Hershey Kiss, it was a peanut butter cookie and they put one of those like tiny Reese's cups in it.
They were called puffs, the peppermint puffs.
Peppermint puffs. I mean, I like those textures too. They're very similar to the buttermints.
We would.
How does that wake you up though?
It's just peppermint in general, like wakes you up a little bit.
Okay.
So they would give us that before a big test, and then
A whole
usually
bag.
like when we had a break.
Per student.
No, one per student.
There's your peppermint allotment. Okay, well, separate tangent because you brought this up. You know what would happen when we took tests in high school?
What?
So, when we would take tests, because technically speaking, the rooms that are on both sides of the main office in the place that I went, that you would take tests in because they would be the classrooms. The main office specifically had this woman in charge. I'm not going to say her name, even though it's not like you track her down, but she was the main administrator, and she was a big believer in essential oils.
Oh no. Okay.
And she would quite literally, because the rooms were next to each other, she would put certain essential oils, like I'm pretty sure peppermint was one of them, but there were other ones that I don't know what they were, but they smelled horrid. And she would put them in a diffuser, and because the vents were interconnected, all the rooms smelled like this. And so now anytime I smell that or the smell of hand sanitizer, I'm brought back to my English class for tests because it makes me want to vom, but I had to take it because you couldn't just take it in a different room. But I remember it was so bad, like, because it was like, it wasn't the nice smelling ones like you and Yoshi have. It was like the ones that are supposed to make you think better, and so they smelled like ass. And it was so bad. Because I'm like, how am I supposed to focus on what Macbeth said when I can't even think? But yeah. And yeah, all of the different candy brands and stuff have a bunch of candy canes today. That doesn't mean they're good, but they're there, that's for sure.
The Warhead ones are pretty good too.
I'm just a cruncher, which doesn't bode well considering I'm a fagot.
Please do not bite dick.
That's what I'm saying. That's asking for an accident.
Oh god, I hate that. That reminds me of that stupid scary movie scene.
Okay, but that one he died because it went in his eye, though.
No, I'm not talking about that.
What are you talking about then?
And they're having sex for the first time, and she's like trying to give him a blowjob, and she bites him because she wants to quote unquote get to the gooey center because he said to lick it like a lollipop.
Oh god. I think I blocked that part out, and that's okay. I'm glad it lives on in your memory instead of mine.
I hate.
Yeah, George. We watched the scary movie and it was
an awful experience. It was the worst viewing experience. Worst movie I've ever seen in my life.
Oh my gosh. But yeah. It's someone's classic, that's for sure.
Hide, you have god-awful taste.
Anyways, I think we've taken up enough of your guys' time. Oh, dear lord. We should not get a scary movie 3. This has been QUISMOISS. Hold on.
Miss. Are you playing it?
That's it. Okay, see y'all later, guys. Talk to you later. Bye.